What's up, guys? Travis with TCustomz Productions, TCustomz.com. I received a viewer question from Bernard on Facebook a couple weeks ago. Wanted to go ahead and read his question and then get into my response on this. He says, "Hey man, I was on YouTube looking through a couple of your videos. I really appreciate the videos. I think it helped a lot of people. I've been producing since about 2000 and don't have any real formal training, just something I picked up and love. I don't have anyone to help me or guide me. I don't have any producer friends. I said all that to say this, that I'm at a point where I feel really stagnant. All I have to go off of is what I feel sounds good, which I feel is hindering me. I listened to you explain a lot of different things that I think I should know, but I don't. I guess my question is, how do you continue to grow, learn, and keep your creative edge as a producer? Any input would be greatly appreciated." First off, I just want to say thanks for sending in your question. I think one of the most fundamental things to keep in mind with perfecting anything, to mastering a craft, is to be hungry to learn. Anything that you want to be great at, anything that you want to continue to grow at, you have to be very hungry to want to learn and get better. Even if you get to a point where you're about 80% or 90%, that last 10%, getting those extra skill sets and those extra little things that are going to help support and make you great or make you a lot better, it might take a lot of extra time. You may have heard the general theory that states like it takes approximately 10,000 hours to perfect any craft or master any skill set. And while that's just a general rule of thumb, and not to say that this is exactly how long it takes, it might take you a little less, it might take you longer, just to give you a general idea that it takes a lot of time invested into making yourself great, to making yourself master the skill set of music production or anything for that matter. That's one of the main things that I tell producers that I talk to, is just keep making tracks. You're on the right track, but it's gonna take you making 100,000 more beats to really get a grasp of what you're doing. And in addition to making more tracks, it's just being open to learn new techniques. The beautiful thing about the information age and the internet now is we can access anything with the click of a button and a Google search. We can have access to YouTube, we can have access to forums, we have access to interviews of people in the industry and seminars and webinars, and there's all this information. For me personally, when I was first starting out, I knew very little about the software I was using. I knew very little about production, how to make beats. I felt like I had an ear for it. I had an ear for music in general, but as far as how the mechanics of how to use it in technical aspects, I wasn't really sure. So what did I do? I went online, I searched forums, I searched Google, I searched YouTube, and I found information from different types of producers and various people online, and I took all these little tips. I looked at this tutorial. How is this guy's workflow? What techniques is he using? I would check somebody else out, and I would kind of adopt little pieces from everybody that I was watching. Any kind of tutorials I could find from industry people, I was watching. I was watching MPC tutorials, even though I wasn't even using an MPC. I was interacting and asking questions in forums. I was watching interviews with people in the industry, like I mentioned. It's crazy if you sit down and watch a 30-minute interview or a 60-minute webinar or conference of people that you're aspiring to be like, how many little nuggets you can pull away from something like that. Absorb as much information as you can. Don't feel discouraged to sit down and watch an hour-long video knowing you may only pull a couple minutes worth of valuable information from it, but that 2 minutes might really be an asset for you to help take you to the next level. If you feel stagnant, you feel like you're not progressing, then you need to study, you need to listen, you need to reverse engineer what you're hearing that you like. And if you don't know how to do it, you need to Google search, and then you need to revise your Google searches, and you need to find more information, because there's gonna be somebody out there on the web who has made a post or posted a video or something on the same issue that you're having or the same kind of technique that you're trying to achieve. Many times the answer is not apparent, and so you have to dig deeper and you have to put in that time. The things that I know, nothing was by chance, nothing was just, it came naturally. I know music theory and I know things about that because I took 5 years of formal lessons. I spent 5 years during high school and college going through a curriculum, basically going through books and learning scales and learning keys. That wasn't something that I just can pick up and say, hey, I've got a sample, I automatically know what key it's in and I can play a bass line or I can play extra instrumentation. No, that came from putting in time and understanding theory. So some things might come more naturally to you than others, and you might not have to spend as much time on them, but just know whatever you're lacking in, you just gotta put more time into it. If you feel like you're having, I guess, a beat block or it's something more temporary, I did shoot a video a while ago on my top 3 tips for combating beat block, and I'll link that in the description too. But other than that, just be hungry to learn, be willing to sit down, listen to people who are at a higher level than you are, where you want to be willing to take all that information in, whether you apply it all or not. You're gonna have to find your own way. Just because they do it this way doesn't mean you're necessarily going to do it this way, but you want to learn from people that are at the level that you want to be at. So don't be afraid to spend time doing the research, doing the homework, asking questions, getting involved in the forums, digging deeper, doing more Google searches. All in all, you have to be a student of the game. You have to be hungry to learn and ready to put what you're learning into practice. One other thing I forgot to mention to help you keep your creative edge is just sheer experimentation. Trying things that you wouldn't normally try, pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, and just experimenting with plugins, experimenting with techniques, taking something that you're learning from a different industry. Maybe you learn from an EDM producer or some other DJ or some other music maker. You take a technique and kind of flip it for whatever you're doing. There's a lot of power in just sheer experimentation. Just want to say thanks again for your question. I hope this response was helpful. Again, I will link that 3 tips for how to combat beat block in the description. If you have any other questions that you'd like to submit, specifically in video format, if you have any video questions you want to send in, please send those to ask@TCustomz.com. If you have any other questions for me, comments, you can leave those below or email me directly on the website. As always, you can connect with me on social media. And thanks again for watching. I will talk to you in the next video. Peace.